just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Anytime a new school talks about old school talks about new school, it's gonna be a headline. All right, Anthony Edwards made some comments about old school basketball, and this is what he had to say.
Him? Look at this quote right here. Edwards replied by saying, quote, "I didn't watch it back in the day."
Preferencing his comments.
They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean? So that's why when they saw Kobe Bryant, they were like, oh my God. But now everybody has skill.
All right, couple things. He preferenced his comments, said, didn't really watch it back then. So you can't get too mad about what he's about to say next because it's not really coming from a knowledgeable position. Doesn't really know the history of the game like that. Michael Jordan was the only one that had skill. Highly doubted. Gary Payton, Penny Hardaway, Magic Johnson, a 6'9" point guard that played all 5 positions and started at center in Game 6 of the NBA Finals when they won their first championship together, him and Kareem. Then you also got to factor in the fact that Charles Barkley was 6'5", one of the most dominant rebounders of his era, getting the ball off the glass, pushing it full court, and dunking on people. That seems like you got to be skilled to be one of the most dominant power forwards in NBA history and only being 6'4", 6'5" on a good day. So, I mean, there's a lot of skill. I mean, Pistol Pete doing things in yesteryears that players are doing today. The type of moves, the type of isolation moves, you know, going off the dribble, the layups, the Euro steps, all those different things. A lot of players can attribute that to Pistol Pete Marriage and his ball handling. Kyrie Irving, arguably probably the greatest ball handler we've ever seen. If you go back and look at some of the stuff Pistol Pete was doing back in the day, you can see how he would be highly effective in today's game. The man was averaging about 45 points a game, something like that, in college without a three-point line. They said he probably shot and made around 5 or 6 3-pointers a game. And he was already averaging 44 with no three. You got to be skilled to do that. I don't care what era it is. To be putting up those type of numbers, you got to have some sort of skill. But to say that Michael Jordan was the only skilled player back then, highly disagree.
End quote. As for Magic Johnson, I recently sat down with him and asked him about Anthony Edwards' comments last week in Las Vegas. Here's what the Magic Man himself had to say. Take a listen.
The other day, that there really wasn't any skilled players in the NBA back in the day outside of Michael Jordan. That's what he said. Your response to that, Irvin Magic Johnson?
Well, you know, I don't never respond to a guy that's never won a championship.
That's how you know you get to him. That's how you know you got to him. Magic Johnson don't say nothing mean about nobody. Not a soul. All about keeping the peace. Hey. Magic Johnson took a shot back at Anthony Edwards. You never see Magic do that. That's how you know, all right, you hit a nerve a little bit.
There's not nothing to really say. He didn't win a college championship. I don't know if he even won a high school championship. So
Big mad. Damn. I concur. Now, one thing I will say about the whole skill conversation, all right? People view skill as the ability to tween cross, tween hezzy, step back, three, right? Yeah, there's some skill involved in that. Just because yesteryear players don't do that sort of thing does not mean they didn't have skill. Doesn't mean they didn't have great skill. Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, John Stockton, magicians with the basketball. Steve Nash, 50, 40, 90 guy, one of the best passers we've ever seen. Gary Payton, Penny Hardaway. I mean, he mentioned Kobe. Let's talk about Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson, Baron Davis, Stevie Franchise. Imagine what those guys would be in today's game. You mean I could be a score first point guard? You mean that the moves I do in the pro-am, the moves I do at the street ball runs, the moves I do at the rec, you mean I can do those same things in an NBA game? It would be absolute insanity of what guys like that could do on the basketball court in today's game. Baron Davis, like the guys I just named, if you don't know, go watch them players. Shifty is an understatement. Underrated bounce. There's no reason why those guys can't, and I'm not talking about, give them these tools, give them that knowledge, give them this, give them that. Don't give them anything. Don't change a single thing. Pick those players up out of their era and drop them in today's game. I guarantee you 25 points for each of them. Allen Iverson is probably going to average 35 because that's what he averaged close to back then. Scary hours for the league if you give those guys the freedom to use their imagination in today's style of play. That sounds like skill to me.
Honest, bro, I don't think anybody in this generation could have played like 20 years ago, if I'm being 100. And this is to everybody in our league. Tatum.
I gotta see where you're going with this.
Let me tell y'all something, bro. 20 years ago, bro, you couldn't get to a triple step back.
He about to start cussing, I guarantee you.
Nah.
He took the glasses off.
You couldn't get to a triple step back. And then if you shot that shit, it had to go in. You know why? Because we had efficiency back in the day, my dude, and it was so fucking hard. It was too physical. And guess what? The league had to come off of it for the flow of movement to be able to have scoring go up, which is why we like to sit here and watch kind of the rat race of the high-paced game, right? But, bro, let's not talk about the gamemanship, and let's not talk about the physicality of the game back.
And that's another aspect, and this is what Rajon Rondo, every time you hear Rondo interview, this is what he's complaining about. The mental aspect of the game is lost because the focus is only on skill. Being able to hit those type of step backs, being able to have all those dribble moves in one possession. Not I'm gonna hit you with a bone cross and go. No, I'm gonna dribble the air out of the basketball for 15 plus seconds on the shot clock until I get the look that I want and I'm firing from deep. That's what the game is focused on now. There's nothing wrong with that. I like watching some of the basketball games that's like that because it can be entertaining. But as a fan of basketball itself, all right, the intricacies of basketball, the X's and O's and all that, Rajon Rondo is right. In a lot of situations, guys aren't thinking the game at a high level. That's why LeBron James can dominate for 20 years. The mental. That's why Chris Paul can be around for nearly 20 years. The mental. They're still extremely smart, and they're way smarter than a lot of the players that are in the league to get today that has superior athleticism at this stage of their career. They're just smarter on a lot of different levels. That's why Rajon Rondo, every team he's been on, he's elevated somebody, taught somebody something new. He was in Cleveland for a brief stint. Got a hold of Darius Garland, taught him a couple things. Chris Paul was in OKC, taught SGA a lot of things. There's a lot of situations where you look at the game and say, yeah, you got skill and athleticism and you're superior athlete. Why are you not the one winning all these championships? Why is Steph Curry still in the championship picture? Why is a guy that can't jump higher than a phone book dominating the NBA in Nikola Jokic? Why is LeBron James still putting up 25, 8, and 8 every single night? 22 years in the league. Superior intellect over just having skill.
Real shit, because I only think half these kids in the league could have been on an NBA team 20 years ago.
Straight up.
The locker room was too, it was too grown.
You know what I watched too? You know what I watched?
It was too of them. It was too much of a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man.
Just
like
the hand check.
No, bro. It was a different vibration. David Stern did a great job of taking all of the physicality out of the game. You understand? Freedom of movement means freedom of movement. Man, back in the day when you had to get by Paul because Paul was squared up with you and ready to slide, and then he could body you, he could poke, he could use his hands, but I can use my hands.
I can fight through a screen.
Bro, the shit that we saw in this.
And you know what? People are going to say that ain't skill. being able to hand check and push me and move me and shove me, that ain't skill. You're right, it's not. The skill is, even with you doing all that, Allen Iverson is still going to rock you. Allen Iverson is still going to cook you on that island. Kobe Bryant is still going to cook you on that island. Tracy McGrady is still going to cook you on that island. Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, for everybody is going to cook you on that island. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, they're going to cook you on that island. Going back, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Pistol Pete, no matter the situation, all right? The physicality, the hand checking, the pushing, all the defensive things, you know, being able to knock dudes out of the air. The Detroit Pistons did everything in their power to absolutely remove Michael Jordan's impact and remove him from games. Physically impose their will on him, and you look at the box score and this man still averaged 30 to 35 points in multiple instances where he went against them. That is skill, but he wasn't the only one. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments, were the players back in the day skilled or as skilled as today's players? That's one more for the good guys.